Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. It has been my tradition with this channel since as long as it's been a booktube channel. When I finish, say, 3 books optimally, I do a video which I designate a recent reads video and put into a playlist of videos, a recent reads playlist. And so this playlist encompasses every single book that I have read, at least to completion, throughout the course of this BookTube channel's existence. Books that I have DNF'd do not make it in, and such things as poetry, which I don't tend to read from cover to cover, don't tend to make it into the list or into the videos, the recent reads videos. And it surprised me that I have finished 3 more books. My reading has sort of fallen apart this year. I began the year with great plans and just wound up losing my way a little bit. Now I'm thinking that when the new year starts in January, I may try to reset and take up those same old plans again and see if I can have some better follow through this time. But right now in the United States, we are in a period of unrest. We have ICE agents and other federal so-called law enforcement agents coming into the city and disrupting the normal, tranquil life that we have here, targeting persons, generally speaking, of brown skin, as the saying goes, to detain, to deport, sometimes deport to countries which they have no connection to, and that kind of thing. Splitting up families, in some cases unaliving people, as the phrase goes. And so citizens of Chicago are doing what we can to counteract this vile incursion into our peaceable lives. So I didn't really think I would get so much reading done, and this is not, under normal circumstances, I would get more done. But I have finished 3 books since the last recent reads video, and so I thought I would talk a little bit about them. I read the 2nd volume of Maxim Gorky's memoirs. Years ago, I read the 1st volume. And I am keeping my eyes out for volume 3, which is my university's. So my apprenticeship discusses the boys' initial forays into employment, into making money, but also his initial forays into literature, into reading, into thinking about ideas. And it is very nice. The first book, My Childhood, deals largely with his family life. Now he, albeit he is a young waif in this book, he nevertheless has to scrounge for a living in parts of this as well. In volume 2, without going into details, he is to a degree back with his family. Then he is going out, being employed by friends and relations to the family, and he describes the situation. My apprenticeship is a little bit longer, I think, than it needs to be, but it was very nice, just as I say, for the documentation of a young man's growing awareness, his growing consciousness of literature and writing even. So that sustained me through the period of turmoil because I was touching back with something I had read before, meaning I had read Gorky before. I've never read any of his fiction or his plays. Chekhov didn't think he was very good, so I've always taken Chekhov's word for it. But as far as the memoirs, I have enjoyed both of them and do hope to read the third one. I had read a pseudo, I don't know if you call it fiction or memoir. It was a little bit of both, done by a different author, Edmund White, which was much inferior. And so I just wanted to get that taste out of my mouth. And so I picked this up. I figured it would be dependable, and it was. So next, again, being totally scattered, I wanted a work that I knew odds were would be dependable, and so I went with George Eliot, The Mill on the Floss, a well-known work of hers. At this point, I've read several of her books. I read Romola, Silas Marner, Daniel Deronda, and I think this is the fifth, so I think there's another one that I can't think of. And to my mind, this is the best. Oh, Middlemarch, of course. Yeah. To my mind, Middlemarch is okay. This beats out Middlemarch. When it comes to a writer like Eliot, some people just don't have a taste for her style. And judging one book over another is merely a matter of personal preference, I think, personal taste. Unless it's something obviously defective, such as Silas Marner. But as far as the other books that I mentioned, it comes down to personal preference, because they are all competent. They're all masterfully handled expositions of their themes. So just a really, really wonderful book. The reading was slow. It took me a month entire. But I've reached a point with Eliot that I feel that I could stop reading Eliot now and I would be okay with it. I've really done this author justice. And there are not a lot of authors that I have ever wanted to be a completist of. With Eliot, I can see that as a possibility. The mill of the title, the what do you say, the eponymous mill, actually plays a significant part in the story. And just the way she handles her themes, as I said, it's just masterful. The word I was looking for when I was talking about it in a previous video was organic. It's not a case of just one thing after another in the plot. One thing evolves out of another organically. And I don't think any of her other novels could have that said about them, at least the ones that I read. In those other novels, one has more of a sense of the author plotting and even plodding. But this one, it seems all of a piece. Very, as I've said in a couple of videos talking about it, very white Anglo-Saxon Protestant in its outlook. So that may be something that does not appeal to a good swath of the readership for novels nowadays. But coming out of a world where that was about all there was, at least generally speaking, I was okay with it. So some scenes with the family had resonances with scenes with my own family. I think they're early on. There's some Christmas festivities, and it was very much like what I remember from my own family. And then lastly, or most recently, I read Strange Defeat by Marc Bloch. And I've talked about this as well. I really enjoyed it. It's in 3 parts. So let me tell you what they are. And this is translated by Gerard Hopkins, which one of you told me was the nephew of the poet Gerard Manley Hopkins. So the introductory matter gives a little bit of background to the historian Marc Bloch. He's never been one of my favorite historians. So chapter 1 is presentation of the witness. He talks about himself. Number 2, one of the vanquished gives evidence. He talks about what he saw in the capitulation of France to the Nazis, or the fall of France to the Blitzkrieg, and so forth. And then chapter 3, a Frenchman examines his conscience. So it's just in these 3 parts, and that one was the least enjoyable to me, because he goes off into some discussion about philosophies of education. Education in France has been poor because of such and such, and it's a kind of speculation that I don't have a lot of tolerance for or interest in. Probably more a lot of interest in, particularly because it's a topic which there's no way to really judge. It's a lot of opinion, but since we are not familiar with what was going on in the schools in France of the time, there's just no real good way to get a grasp on it, and so one gets a sense of opinions and opinions and opinions. So those are the 3 books. Next, I am into John Irving, and I've read a few pages of this so far. There is a group reading this book, to be followed by a sequel to this book, which is going to be published well, it was published, I think, this month, but the reading of the sequel is going to be in December. No, I'm thinking it's November. The sequel is published in November. We're still in October. Halloween has not come yet, or John Keats's birthday, I should say. And I doubt that I will be getting to the sequel. I have other year-end plans, things that I want to tie up. So I will put off the sequel most likely, unless I really love this. Now, I read The World According to Garp many years ago, read it twice as a matter of fact, and did like it. And this book so far, I'm 12 pages in. I'm going real slow, but I find it competent, and I find it really smooth flowing. I mean, compared to the language in Eliot, which sometimes you have to read sentences by Eliot a couple of times to really grasp the sense of them. In this so far, there has not been such a trouble. So this is a modern library edition. So obviously somebody thinks very highly of this book, and so far it's very nice. He gives a very nice description of a town in Maine, which goes by the name of St. Cloud's, which I'm guessing is fictional. I don't know. What he calls the lumbering industry, I think I would probably have said the lumber industry, or the timber industry, is a focal point of at least the origins of the town. And it's very interesting in light of the books that I started out my year with, which was the whole mahogany cycle by B. Traven. I could put a link to some of that in the description box if I think of it. So this is just a quick look at what I have recently read. Oh, my sign fell down. Look at that. Hands Off Chicago. I just brought it out for this video, but maybe we should keep it in the window, and I will get some tape to make sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen. So thank you very much for stopping by my channel, and we'll see if I get another recent reads video in for the remainder of the year. As I say, my reading has slowed down considerably. Again, thanks for stopping by.